We're here today in the Harvest office in Rathmines with Frank Rock, Director of Harvest. Frank, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself, please?
Well, first of all, I'm really disappointed I can't be with you there today, because I'm hugely passionate about the work that we are doing in the area of holistic practitioners and helping them to grow their practices. But I guess my story is a very simple one, and one that's quite common nowadays. 6 years ago, my business partner Nicola and I bought Harvest, which was a very successful business, 25 years in business, a very well-known brand and lots of good relationships with clients. And we took over this business with not any real, we never had managed a business before. And I suppose the first 12 months of taking over that business was a very challenging time, very stressful time. And about 12 months after taking over Harvest, I wasn't feeling great, and I was getting a few aches and pains, and energy levels were low. And I decided one day to just pop into the GP and just have a quick chat, and thinking that I'd be given some sort of a tonic or vitamins just to get you, because I just felt I wasn't feeling great, and it was a busy time for the business. And my GP casually said to me, "Frank, might be no harm to go for an MRI and just let's see that everything's okay," and really downplayed it. And so I went to the local hospital, which was James's, and got my MRI done, brought it back to the GP. GP said, "Look, I can't really do anything about the MRI, you've got to go, I've made an appointment to see a neurologist. Suggest you do it today, you can see you at 2 o'clock. Went out to Blackrock Clinic, found myself in the neurologist's room. He put up the MRI onto the screen, and within a matter of seconds he basically told me that those little white spots, which I thought they were on the scan, were called lesions, and he quickly diagnosed it as MS. And within a matter of minutes, I had gone from somebody who was just feeling a little bit achy and a little bit sort of stiff with pain to somebody who was diagnosed with a very sort of challenging illness with MS. His final words to me as I was going out of his rooms was, "Look, we're going to get through this, but there is a 50% chance, Frank, that the prognosis could be that the quality of life isn't going to be great, and there might be a 50% chance you could end up in a wheelchair." Not the most motivating thing you ever want to hear as you're walking out of somebody's rooms. And I suppose for that 12 months after that diagnosis, I basically struggled with the whole concept of MS. Why did I get it? How could I get it? I was angry, I was frustrated, I couldn't believe that I was a young guy running a business, and basically my quality of life had gone out the window within a matter of months. And I suppose in that 12 months, I basically handed over control of my illness to my neurologist, who, with the best will in the world, basically did the best that he could do. But every time I went to see him, I came away with another set of steroids or interference or spasticity tablets, whatever. And I quickly realized after a year that I wasn't feeling any better, certainly wasn't feeling any better about myself, and I just felt there was another way, and that I owed it to myself to explore other options. And that's where I started getting into the whole area of alternative medicine, holistic medicine. I came from ground zero in terms of my knowledge. My only knowledge was that I'd only ever known conventional medicine, and my neurologist was basically in the business of pain relief, but he wasn't in the business of healing. And that's where I needed to get very, very quickly.
Yeah. So what was your first initial impressions of the people you were meeting in the holistic sector?
I have to say, as I was thinking more about moving away from conventional medicine and talking to my own family and friends about it, their natural skepticism fueled mine in terms of, you got to be careful, Frank, there's lots of strange people out there and they're doing lots of wacky things. And are you doing the right thing? Because it's probably a good idea to keep pumping chemicals into yourself. But I knew in my heart and soul that that wasn't the way for me. So it was a real leap of faith, and it was a bit of a journey. I mean, it was like going to auditions. It was like basically meeting lots of different people, but I quickly narrowed it down to 3 or 4 key areas which I felt were the key things that would help somebody with MS, and that was really around the whole work-life balance, acupuncture, meditation, diet, sports massage, etc. And my impressions of the holistic market as I began to meet more and more people was hugely inspiring people, absolutely dedicated to a holistic approach, dedicated to healing of individuals, people who were never slow to go the extra mile, really motivating, very inspiring and very encouraging. And I quickly realized that my decision to move from alternative medicine was the right one. And I suppose the most difficult part of that decision was actually telling my neurologist, who, when I went to see him, smiled quietly, and I suppose he was thinking, Frank, I know this is something you have to do, and I know you'll be back in my rooms within 3 months, but I'm glad to say that was nearly 4 years ago, and I hadn't had any sort of a relapse, and it's purely down to the therapies and the treatments that I've learned in the holistic field that I am now capable of running a business, having reasonable levels of energy, and feeling good about life again.
Yeah. Okay. So, tell us about what you observed with working with the holistic practitioners, and I suppose in terms of how you think they could improve their practices in terms of bringing it out to people.
Yeah, I guess I'm a naturally curious individual at the best of times, and when I decided on who I wanted to form, maybe like my support team, I very quickly was anxious to know about and eager to know about how they grew their practice, because I'm a business person, and you know, I know what it's like to run a business. I know the importance of having a diary that needs to be full every week, and whether it was on the couch or on the bench, and as they were working with me and on me, the conversation would stem to, so how do you do your business and all that type of thing. And I was very surprised, I have to say, to see a real sort of lack of urgency or understanding about the importance about seeing their practice as a business. They were putting a lot of their energies into making people better, and they really weren't capitalizing or cultivating the good work that they were doing with patients. I mean, I would have no hesitation in recommending the 3 or 4 people that I'm working with, because I can see the effects of it. And I felt what was needed, or where a consultancy like Harvest could help them, and this is really what Grace is going to talk about later on, about how we might be able to help you, is there's a lot of things that we are teaching businesses to do which could be very easily transferred into the holistic market. And I know that the whole vision for a holistic practitioner is to make the patient well. And very often you become the victim of your own success, because it's not about seeing the patient on a regular basis like it is for my neurologist. It's about getting the person fit and back into working life again. So I think what I observed about the holistic market was that there was a real need for them to do some of the basic things that any business would do in terms of how do they market their practice, how do they get clients, how do they keep a diary full of appointments. And I guess a lot of holistic practitioners are really challenged about how can they take something which they're very passionate about, which sometimes can be a hobby, into a full-time business. And that's where I think we can really help holistic practitioners with Harvest. And that's why I'm really passionate about giving something back to the holistic market, because I really feel today, without the benefit of their wisdom, I wouldn't be able to run a business. I wouldn't have the energy levels that I have today. Certainly if I was doing the conventional way, I certainly wouldn't have the quality of life that I have right now.
Frank, thanks very much for talking us through your story and for explaining your connection to the sector.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.